Thank you, David. Friends, I'm just going to call all of us friends because I think we're all in the same canoe, as I said earlier this morning. Whether we like it or not, we're here because we're in that one canoe. And
You have to speak because it's not before.
okay.
It's already on.
Okay, so I wanted to use the analogy of the Baka canoes because really to get to your destination you have to have all hands on deck. And so the question really is not, is the Pacific Islands committed to a sustainable future? The question is, who's committed with us? You know, and that's really the point I want to stress. There's no doubt that those of us in the Pacific are facing tremendous challenge, tremendous stress on our environment. We want to do something about it, but many of the things we need to do are beyond our control, beyond our makings, beyond our resources. So who's willing to partner with us to get those things done? Now, on our own, it's important that we help ourselves first before we ask others to help us. So that's our message this morning also, is that we own the resources. We are really willing to protect those resources, make them marine protected areas or land protected areas. But then again, we saw Secretary Jewell of the United States Department of Interior. It's not enough to set aside these marine protected areas. The stress are still going to come from forces with climate change, global warming, acidification, all the man-made stresses, all the industrial and developed nation stresses that unfortunately affects all of us in the Pacific. So that's the reality. What can we do on our own? We'll do as Pacific Islanders, but then what can we do? Because we need partnerships. That's the question for our partners, and that's the whole purpose of being here.
Your Excellency, thank you. You made a declaration during the plenary about your marine sanctuary, which is the totality of your EEZ. And congratulations to Palau for Excellency, can you please share with us the reasons why? Why did you make that decision to make the whole EEZ a marine sanctuary?
So first of all, I'm not crazy. I want to assure you we are not crazy. We have a reason to do this, and really the main reason is it's food security. It's about food security. You don't have to be a fisherman like me to understand that the resources of the ocean are being depleted, small in sizes, small in numbers. And so that's the main concern. As to survive as a people, you have to have food security. Number two, it's a matter of economic security. You see, we receive about $5 million a year from the revenues of fishing. This against the backdrop of a $6 billion Pacific-wide industry. So the studies have shown that of the $6 billion, only 6% of that revenue is shared among the Pacific Islands, while 96% of that is actually being realized outside of Palau, outside of the Pacific. So who is benefiting from the resource? Definitely not the resource owners. It's the exploiters of this resource. So it's also an issue of fairness. Who is benefiting from this resource? Definitely not our people. Can we live without the 5 million? Yes, we can. That 5 million is a drop in the bucket compared to what we can do with ecotourism, with sustainable activities, utilizing our waters. We have made a conscious decision on that, so it makes sense for us. And of course, the last factor is that all Pacific Islands realize that we have to set aside marine protected areas. So Palau is willing to give up its 200-mile exclusive economic zone as our contribution to the health of the Pacific wild community.
Would you challenge the
Well, it's just not Palau. My brother here, of course, has made that announcement this morning, brother from Kiribati. But the point is, it's not enough for just the three of us. We need more to make it happen.
Like to say something?
Okay, thank you. Just to follow on from what my brother said from Palau, yes, we are committed to doing what we have been doing. For us in Kiribati, the decision to close off Phoenix Island's protected area came about as a result of a number of considerations. One was the need to conserve. We accept, we realize that we have a huge, perhaps one of the largest fishery resources in the region. And so what we are experiencing is a very fast decline in...
No, just hold it closer to your mouth.
A very fast decline in some of the species, especially the more valuable species like big eye, yellowfin, skipjack. We have too much skipjack. We can continue to have that. But the problem is with the Pacenas coming in, when they scoop in the net, they take everything, including the juveniles. And so that has been the problem. And so the decision to put aside the 400 square kilometers of ocean was to a large extent part of the conservation effort. And we are beginning to understand now the impact of what we did, because it's been proven scientifically that the Pipa area is a spawning ground, and it's where the young fish are spawned, and so that it will contribute to the long-term sustainability of the resource. But I can tell you, when we did this, I had a lot of opposition internally. I was challenged in Parliament. Our fishing partners continue to oppose it until today, because it will cut down one of their more fertile fishing grounds. It's because the Phoenix Islands protected area accommodates a lot of seamounts, and therefore with seamounts you get a lot of fish. Okay, so they're not happy about it. But the second reason was that with our frustration on the lack of progress on the climate change debate, I continued to be debating this. I've been doing this for more than 10 years, but nobody ever listened. Nobody listened. And in the years that I was talking about this at the UN, everywhere, people, even George Bush was talking about terrorism. And so one day I thought, I got my officials together. I said, how can we associate terrorism with climate change? And they said, oh, we call it eco-terrorism. So I did. In my next speech, I said eco-terrorism, but nobody still listened. But when we decided to close off that, it was part of our statement to the international community that what I'd been demanding of people to make it, to make a commitment, to make a sacrifice. And so we made the sacrifice. And so we've done that. As of the 1st of January next year, we will be closing off that area. And but the point that I want to make, it's not easy to enforce. We don't have the capacity. We have one patrol vessel patrolling our 3.5 million square kilometers of ocean. We don't have enough. So I should have raised it there, that if anybody was willing to contribute the second, maybe the workers can do that for it. If you catch the boat, you can get the bounty on them. But that's been a commitment. In addition, what we have done also, as I announced this morning, I announced this earlier this year, is that we've closed off 12 nautical miles around each of the 5 southern land islands. And because that is in recognition of the very, very rich biodiversity. According to science, it's even better than the Phoenix Islands protected area. And so we want to preserve that. We cannot go beyond 12 miles at the moment. I think I'll be kicked out. I'll be voted out of Parliament if I try to do that. So what we have done is legislate for PIPA, but not yet for the Phoenix Islands, for the land islands. That is the extent of our commitment so far. But the one comment I want to make before I end is that in spite of the commitments that the US and China have made, the problem is not over for us. The sea level will continue to rise on the basis of the greenhouse gases already in the atmosphere. So we need to keep working at the international community.
I think we'll come back to that point later on, and we'll have more discussions on that.
Okay.
But perhaps we'd like to give the floor to Prime Minister Puna to share a little bit about your perspective on the sacrifices that needs to be made, especially with regards to the proposed areas that you will have and the focus on deep sea mining with regards to the Cook Islands.
Thank you. First, let me acknowledge our voyagers around the frontier. You know, we're very, very proud of these people, these heroes and heroines who have given up so much in order to be part of this message here in Sydney today. So thank you very much. For the Cook Islands, we're lucky in many ways because we don't depend too much on fisheries for our national resources, for our national budget. In fact, we're very dependent on tourism. So that eases the pressure on our fisheries. But nevertheless, we are and we have gone along with our Pacific brothers because really it's a political thing for me. We need to be seen to be showing regional solidarity and working with one another, supporting one another. So that's the first reason. And I'm pleased that this gentleman on my far left is here today because he's one of my heroes. He started the PIPA, the Phoenix Islands Protected Area Project, and they actually sent their director to the Cook Islands to help show us how to do our marine park. Mr. President, thank you very much. So that's the first reason for the Cook Islands, regional solidarity. We need to be hand in hand with our brothers from around the region at all times. And the second one is that, hey, we feel good doing it because we can scream and make as many noises as we like, and the world really very slow to respond, if at all. And I'm sure that President Tong is well aware of the frustrations of trying to preach this new gospel to the rest of the world. He's been at it for 10 years or more, and I'm sure you detected the note of optimism in his voice this morning when he made reference to the significant announcement by President Obama and President Xi yesterday about China and the US working together on cutting back on gas house emissions. So in a way, MC, we're very fortunate in the Cooks that we don't have as much pressure. The pressure that I can tell you about is in relation to the final announcement I made about the other half of our EEZ coming on board to be part of our marine park. It was a very positive pressure. Believe it or not, one of the islands is my constituency island, who petitioned me to include them into a new extended marine park. And that is the kind of consciousness that is very much evident in my country. People want to be conserving. People want to contribute. And more importantly, they want to make a positive contribution. You know, I couldn't believe when our steering committee came back with their report that our communities up in the northern group, in the other half of our EEZ that's not currently part of our marine park, they want in. I mean, how can you refuse, positive pressure like that? Yeah, I'm not going to refuse, and I haven't refused. In fact, at the Kerry Summit in Washington earlier this year, our team made an announcement that our government has committed to accepting the recommendations from our steering committee that we will incorporate our whole EEZ as our marine park for the future.
Prime Minister Puna, we have one question for you from this old gentleman, Waka crew member.
Yes.